And we are back with the third segment of the GSMC Basketball Podcast presented by the GSMC Sports Network. And in this third segment, we are going to be continuing talking about the players that have the most to prove for each and every single NBA team. We are on the 25th team, which is the Portland Trailblazers, so that means there's only 5 more teams to go. And I'll probably break it up into 2 segments so that way I can talk a little bit about every single one of these players and, continue making it a pair because I've always had it a pair and it makes total sense to make every single one of them a pair to me. So I'm just going to continue on. And we left off with Portland, and the player with the most to prove on Portland, in my opinion, is Scoot Henderson. And Scoot was thought of from a lot of people, rather interesting people, I should say, for lack of a better term. The interesting people thought that Scoot Henderson was going to be the best player coming out of the draft. And it was there was an argument of Victor Wembanyama versus Scoot Henderson in Rookie of the Year in the beginning of the year. It was a thing. I know. It's insane for me to even think that was a possibility and that people were legitimately thinking that he would end up being better than Victor. I thought those people were just being rather optimistic. It was a mix of optimism and a mix of hating on Victor Wembanyama. And personally, I never thought that Scoot was going to be better than Victor. There was just no way, in my opinion. And I ended up being, without a doubt, beyond shadow of a doubt, right, because shortly after Victor Wembanyama had his rookie campaign, there was zero argument for Scoot Henderson. There's zero argument for anyone winning the Rookie of the Year award over Victor Wembanyama. And when Wembanyama showed, some of the shaky shooting in the Summer League, literally the first game of the Summer League was the big reason why a lot of people thought Scoot Henderson was going to be better than him. And some rival team officials wondered whether San Antonio would regret passing on Henderson down the line, according to Chris Mannix. Those people are just hating. And the notion, just the thought of it, it sounds hilarious. The fact that this guy was getting compared to Victor Wembanyama. Because it is hilarious. And it's also due to the fact that Scoot just didn't look that great in his first year at all. And even if you're really grading him on the rookie curve, it's really fair to criticize just how bad he was, because he shot 38% overall from the field and 32% from 3. Not to mention he was averaging almost 4 turnovers with his 5 assists, which isn't a very good assist to turnover ratio. And obviously, one season does not make a career, but for being someone that was highly touted going into the NBA, and somebody who was supposed to, or a lot of people expected to be better than the best prospect since LeBron James, you got to play better than that. And he did not play like that at all. So it was a very cold take for a majority of the fans that were rooting for Scoot Henderson, and it was a very cold take for a lot of the haters that were rooting for the downfall of Victor Wembanyama. So still, he can't show more as a sophomore than he did as a rookie. The Trailblazers might start to wonder whether he's the right player to lead this post-Damian Lillard era in Portland. And quite frankly, I don't think he should be the one leading. I think Anthony Simmons should be the one leading this team. But aside from that, Scoot needs to play a lot better given his draft stock and given just all the expectations that were coming in from him before the NBA even started off or tipped off its season last year. And it really, I can't believe those were even talks. Let me know in the comments if, you guys knew that Victor was going to be that guy, or if you guys thought Scoot was going to be that guy, because I'm very curious exactly. And for those of you guys that thought Scoot, I'm curious what exactly was your thought process going into picking Scoot, instead of picking somebody that was 7'4" and could shoot the ball. I'm very curious what was going on through those kinds of people's minds, because I just don't. It doesn't seem feasible to me. I don't know. And again, there's still a chance that he could elevate his game. I think I can see him, in the future of his career, I could see him being that kind of, I don't know why, but I feel like Chris Middleton would be like the type of player that he'd be. He'd be like, a solid scorer while at the same time being a much more competent defender and valued more as a defender. I don't know if that's entirely like, I don't know if you would say that that's entirely Chris Middleton, but I feel like that's really the ceiling that he can get to. And I don't know, like I'm not really all that high on Scoot. Let me know in the comments what you guys think of him. But next player on this list is for the Sacramento Kings, and that is Keegan Murray. Now, the Kings, they made a crazy addition in the offseason with DeMar DeRozan, and the arrival, like, it doesn't really guarantee that they are going to take that next step. There's a high chance that they're going to take the next step. But DeMar he's a talented player, but he's not a crazy talent that like you put him on the team and they immediately become title contenders. It's not the same impact of, let's say, Kevin Durant were to join, or let's say Kyrie Irving were to join, or somebody like that has not only experience in the postseason but also experience winning in the postseason. You can argue that Kevin Durant's wins are illegitimate, but that's a completely different topic. Now, moving on and continuing, as gifted as DeMar DeRozan is, he's a bit of a weird fit for De'Aaron Fox and Sabonis, like I've been saying, and the article says this as well. Like, just mid-range shooting 24/7 and driving to the paint 24/7 is not really ideal as a third option behind De'Aaron Fox and Sabonis, who already do both of those things. I feel like those two need to be surrounded by shooters and a shot creator, yes, which is why they got DeMar, but it's like, his particular kind of shot creation is rather inefficient with all the mid-ranges that he takes. And there's still concern for the spacing, given the fact that DeRozan isn't that competent of a three-point shooter, and the defense in those three players. Because while DeRozan is fantastic on offense, the defense from him is known to waver, which was a big difference, one of the differences between Kawhi and DeMar DeRozan in the trade. The fact that Kawhi had the defense in his game, along with the shot creation that DeMar DeRozan had. And there's going to be concerns going into this with the Kings and this offense and how it's constructed and how they manage the lineups. Now, obviously, the arrival might elevate Sacramento's floor, but it is tough to tell exactly how much he's going to raise that floor for Sacramento and what their ceiling will be, especially in this top-heavy Western Conference team. So that job is probably going to rest on the shoulders of this guy right here, Keegan Murray. And again, he's one of the league's 3-and-D players. He was pretty popular, I should say, with the Sacramento Kings. A lot of Kings fans really like him and really like what he brings to the table. And I think that he needs to sort of elevate himself and sort of make that next step and become a star or a key player, either coming off the bench or just being there when the team needs three-point shooting. And he's shown flashes of stardom. Outside of Keon Ellis and rookie Devin Carter, the Kings don't really have other avenues towards internal improvement. So Murray stands as their best option in terms of like a player that could exceed people's expectations and just explode as a popular player and a good player, provided you buy into the notion he possesses high-end potential. So that's all that I have for this third segment. Again, I'm going to continue on with this list, and I'm going to finish this list in the fourth segment, but I just have to get into a break for the ads, so I apologize for all that, but just be sure to tune in if you want me to continue with this segment right after this short break.
For the best and latest podcasts available anywhere, go to the podcast app on your cell phone and type in GSMC to access free content-rich podcasts on health and wellness, book reviews, sports, entertainment, relationships, social media, movies, technology, finance, and even weird news. Subscribe and download the GSMC Podcast Network's family of shows, available everywhere podcasts are found.